Hello and welcome to Swiping Through History. Today, we've got something very special for you indeed. Whether you're a young one who's just about to break up for their summer holiday, or you're just bored stiff because you've been in lockdown for months, today, we're going to show you how to make a medieval barbute out of paper mache. So, what is a medieval helmet and what was it actually used for? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory really. It's there to protect the head. Just like today, we have helmets for cycling, for motorbike riding, and also for horse riding. But with medieval helmets, it was for when they were fighting. So, follow me and let me introduce you to my very own medieval stig. Now, please do not try this at home. I am a professional. Do you mind? See? It's perfect. You didn't feel a thing. There are 4 stages to making our paper mache helmet. So, let's get started. If you're wondering why I'm wearing my kilt, it's because at this time of year, normally we'd be seeing the start of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. However, unfortunately, due to COVID, it is not happening this year, and I thought, with this video, I'd be with them in spirit. What do we need to get started? Well, the all-important paper, pair of scissors, a tape measure, a Sharpie, an old paintbrush, some masking tape, flour, paint for the final product, a little bit of cardboard that you might have lying around, some balloons, and a glass bowl, and of course, plenty of water. The first thing to do is to take your tape measure and measure the circumference of your head and from the highest point of your head down to your eye level. I've already done it for the helm, so we have a circumference of 74 centimeters, and from the top of the helm down to the eye socket, we have a total of 19 centimeters. Feel free to use those measurements if you wish. Once you've got those measurements, it's time to blow up your balloon to those measurements. Luckily, I have my trusty stig to do that for me. While he's doing that, cut up some paper into some long, thin strips and get your water and flour and mix it together. So once you've mixed your flour and your water together and you've got your balloon ready to go, now we're at step 2. The first thing to do with step 2 is to start soaking some of your strips of paper in the flour and water. We'll come back to them later. Then you want to measure from the top of the balloon 19 centimeters down onto the surface, which is where your eye level is going to be. Once you've done that, which I've already done and marked it on the balloon, we then draw the eye slot of the helmet onto the surface of the balloon. It should look something like that. Once you've done that, we then take some of the strips of paper that's been soaked in the flour and water, and we start placing them onto the surface of the balloon, lining up, as you can see, with the eye sockets. This is where, if you have a paintbrush, you can use it to just make sure that the pieces of paper is properly soaked onto the balloon, and you want to try and keep it as smooth as you possibly can. Then once we've done the first one, we do the second. And so on, and you basically continue until the entire balloon surface is covered with these layers and strips of paper. However, there is one point I want you to take note of. On the lines coming down from the helmet, I want you to make a little mark about halfway up, because as you can see with the barbute, something very unique about the style is the skirts at the bottom that really come round to protect the cheekbone. So what we're going to do to start with is only layer up to that certain point, because in the next step is when we add the skirts. So let me give you an example. You take the paper, you try and hold it still as you do this. You line it up on the balloon at that halfway mark, and you drag it round and slot it in place. This is also important for the back of the balloon as well. What we don't want to be doing is having too many of the strips coming down below that line. This is one I made earlier. Stage 3. Take your cardboard and cut it into evenly sized square pieces. Then use the masking tape to attach it to your helm while you layer the soaked paper over the top. I found this to be the best way to make the skirts. When you're done, make sure you let it dry before moving on. As you can see, it's all nicely dried and it's ready for stage 4. Once the paint has dried, is to make it your own. As you can see, I've already started by drawing a little bit more of the detail of the helm onto my papier-mâché helmet, and well, I'm going to put a few more rivets on. For the final stage, once you've finished all your customization work on your helmet and it is looking sick, it's time to pop the balloon and try it on.